Okay, I once saw on YouTube a guy who tricked up his 3D printer by putting LEDs everywhere, which I thought was a bit over the top at the time, but you do actually need to have some light on the bed. The number of times and hours that you spend crouched over looking at your prints to check the quality and what have you. So here's what I've done. It should give you some ideas. You don't have to copy what I've done, but it should give you some ideas. What you will need is some LED strip lighting. This is 3-colour LED lighting. As you can see, perhaps you can see, each LED has got 3 individual LEDs in it, a red, a green and a blue. It's 12 volts, so it'll fit and be powered directly off the power supply of the 3D printer. What I've decided to do, looking at the printer, is mount a bracket on the vertical posts either side of the bed and go 2 inches behind it and 4 inches in front of it. Each one of these segments is 2 inches. There are cut marks every 3 LEDs, which is 2 inches. So we shall need 3 sections of that, which when you've cut it looks like this. You need to buy the waterproof LEDs. They come with a plastic cover strip, a sleeve, so we'll cut this sleeve accordingly. So there's 1, 2, 3 sections, and I don't know if we can show you this, but at the end of each section it does actually tell you what the connections are that are on the back. This one is plus, green, red, blue, and all we'll do is solder some cables onto the back connectors, design and print a holding housing to mount to the vertical members of the frame. So once you've cut those up, you'll need some cable to solder onto the ends. I've used some 4-core. Yeah, it's actually an old USB cable that I've cut up. So they're sort of stripped ready to be soldered on at one end, and the other end I'll connect the red, green, blue together so that I get a white light. So that's what you'll need for those. For mounting, let's put this back in here. Also cut a hole in the back for the cable to come out of later once it's been soldered on. So what I've designed is something like this, and then this will just push in. It's a silicone sleeve, it just deforms and pushes in. Like that. So the way I intend to mount this with the 2 mounting holes is on the vertical members there, 2 inches of LED behind and 4 inches in front, just above the bed. So 1 on that side and 1 on the other side. Obviously the bed moves backwards and forwards, and it'll be a simple task to wire those back into the power supply behind. You can see the hole for the cable to come out on this side. The other side, I think I shall run it vertically up the inside of the frame on the other side, across the top, and switch to the outside going down this side, and then tie the 2 lots together. So that should be quite neat, with a hole in the back for the cable to come out of. So 2 of those, one either side of the bed, wired up to the power supply via a switch, so you can turn it on or off if you wish. So that's the plan. So first thing is cut your LEDs, 2 strips, and let's make this. The first thing we need to do is draw that outer sleeve so that we can draw a housing around it. So 12.5 by 5. Okay, that represents the outer sleeve. Now we know that we can't actually print overhangs, so the front face or the front faces that hold the LED strip in, we'll make them at 45 degrees on the underside so that we can actually print them. It does mean that we'll have to deform the sleeve to push it in, which is fine. That's why we're leaving the space there, and then it'll just, there we go, you'll be able to push it in, deform it and push it in, and that'll keep it in place. If you spend a little more time on it and make proper measurements, you get a better job than this. But for the purposes of demonstration. Okay, so that's going to be the profile. And we'll extrude that. We'll extrude a 50mm. We know we need 150mm plus 2 at each end, so that's 154. So we'll just extrude 50mm, print it out, see how it fits, and then if it doesn't fit perfectly, you can tweak the profile, extrude it again, print it again, until you get it exactly right. Once you have it right, then we shall continue to develop this into a full bracket for the LED. So assuming it's correct, what we need to do is extrude it out to 150mm, which will be 50mm behind the upstand and 100mm in front. So we've already extruded it 50, so we just need to extrude it another 104, don't we? 2 at each end extra. Okay, now we have our profile. We need to put some ends on it. So the quick and dirty here is, if we just draw a square here, from there to there, and then we just take that, extrude it 2mm, 1.5, 2mm as a new solid. We can actually get that solid, I think. Control C, Control V, and move it down to the other end. Okay, got a nice closed surface there. Now we do know, if we take all of that and rotate it around, ,90 degrees, that's now in its printing position. We do know that we shall be putting 2/3 in front of the post and 1/3 behind, so that's 50mm behind and 100mm in front. So the bolt is going to be an click the diameter. It's going to be an M5, so we'll make it a 6mm hole. And that will need to be in a tab. About like that. So if we now we know that the bolts are 12mm long, and we know that about 5 to 6mm is going to be inside the vertical member onto the T-nut. So this needs to be about 6mm to take up the full length of the bolt. So if we extrude it 6mm. And we need a hole, so we'll grab hold of the hole. I'll extrude it that way, and it's a hole. So there we go, we've got our hole now, and we shall need 2 of those. So position wise, it needs to be, if we grab hold of this and move this to somewhere nice. That's about it. We need 50mm, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 50mm which is about, isn't it? There it is. So it's about in the right place. All we need to do now is attach the 2 ends. So if we snap that face to that face, that's where it's done. Just have to move it back in position. And ungroup. Is, and if we go Control C, Control V, we get another one. Put this at this side, and then the only thing we have to do now is align them at the bottom. Which they already are, aren't they? Well, they could do to be aligned a bit better. Align. Select all of them. Align. Okay, so it's brought them all into line now. Okay, so the only other thing we have to do is to put a hole in the base of this so we can get the cable out. And if we put it here, it'll come out at the back of the vertical on the power supply side, so that'll be about right. So, and again, the size you make this will depend on the size of the cable that you're using. So just move it into the middle. Okay, and extrude that. Okay, hole for the cable to come out. It could probably do to be oval, but never mind, that'll do for now. Okay, there we are. You just need to print 2 now and job done. Okay, so to connect the wires to the LEDs we need some solder, and the first thing we do is we'll take the short one, tin the wires. These have been pre-stripped. Hope this stays in focus. It's not going to be all over this place. Okay, so first wire first. Okay, once the 4 cores have been tinned, the next thing we have to do is solder them onto the tags at the back in the right order, which is going to be plus, green, red, blue. It does depend which end you're looking. So at this end that we're going to be soldering on, when it's turned over, it's going to be plus, it's going to be green, red, blue, which is the opposite of what you actually see there because we're going to turn it over. It just takes a little touch. Done. So that's that. Next one is green, and this is where we need a pair of scissors, a pair of tweezers. Okay, next that's green. Next one is red. So I'll just get that positioned. That one's a bit long. And then the black is going down for the blue, isn't it? Right, the way to test it is if you have a spare power supply. I have one here. It's a 9-volt power supply. I don't know, off an old piece of equipment, don't know what. I'll plug that in. Positive is on the outer edge, and positive is white in our case. So if we test the green, green works, red, red works, and black, the troublesome one, works as well. So if we now put all three, connect all three together, we should finish up with white light. There we are. So that's that part of it done. The next part is to get the plastic cable, the plastic sleeve, and feed the wire through here, through the tube, and out here. Okay, you're getting the idea now. So just keep pulling this through. Set that one off. Okay, so that's in, the cable's there. If we get the housing that we made, and this is why you need to make the housing a little bigger, because I mean that's very bulky at that point there. Feed the cable through. Turn it to here and gently get it in position. Basically force it in now. Good. It was always going to be a bit bulgy at that point there. And then we'll just give it a last test. White is positive. Yep. I mean, we can have green if we wish. Red. But we get white, so we know that all three are connected up properly. So now we get to the fitting part. I've put the T-bolts in. I've also auto-homed the printer to make sure that this sits not too high so it interferes. That's about right. Need to get that one in. Just push the bed out of the way. Get some working space. So just a bit of clearance there, not too tight in case we decide to level the bed a little lower than that. Okay, now we'll just tighten it up, making sure the cable's free. Quick nip there and there. Sorry about the hands. Yep, that looks good. And it's not actually interfering with the head. Next part is just to route the cable, which I've already got some tie wraps on here for other things. Right, the next part is the wiring, which I won't be covering, so we'll come back when this is complete. Okay, so here's the finished article, and just finished a print. The head's moved back, but as you can see, it's a lot easier to see what's going on. With the lights on. Really good. So I hope you found that entertaining, and leave you to do something on your own now.